Howdy folks, it's Axil, the hunting gear guy. I want to show you guys these ProSounds Axil M4s. These are a quad microphone, so I've got a couple microphones up front and I've got a couple out back here, so you can actually locate where a sound might be coming from. And these are electronic earmuffs. So the idea here is that we've got 25 decibels of noise reduction, and that's pretty much good for a lot of things. You can go shoot pistols, you can go hunting, you can go shoot some clays. When you get to bigger stuff, whether you be shooting a braked 300 or even a braked AR, I prefer to use some additional earplugs. But these do the trick for everything else, and even with the AR, you can run those little ribbed earplugs and then run these on top and still hear a lot better than if you're just to put in earplugs alone. So they're pretty cool for that kind of thing, and let's take a closer look at them. So as you can see on here, and as I was just mentioning there, the cup thicknesses are, this is my favorite part of these headphones. They've got a nice thick cup here, and that makes for a really good seal on eyeglasses and hat brims and that kind of thing that kind of get in the way of these things. So that's a really big plus. Another one is just the clamping strength. Now keep in mind, because we've got these nice, like such a thickness on these cups here, you can go with a higher clamping pressure on here. It's still comfortable on your head because it's not really putting any pressure points on because it's got these nice soft cups. So that's interesting. Now the production, this is a pre-production version, keep in mind, and we've got these, there's no keepers really to hold this headband in place. The final production does have like these nice little plastic keepers that are on the ends here. This is, again, pre-production, doesn't have those. Each cup is completely independent. That's why we don't have any wires that are going from this cup that are kind of snaking their way up to the headband or anything like that. And the advantages of that are that we have a lot of, all our controls are the same across here. So we've got a control on this side. I just left it on. That's turning it off. Now I can turn it on all the way up. And that's independent for each ear cup. This being the M4, we have microphones on the front and on the back. We've also got an auxiliary headphone jack on the way in. Now we do have one for each cup, and that's because they're independent. That's just a design philosophy thing, right? They could run with the wire that goes between, but they chose not to, so these are completely independent. Because they're independent, they need independent power sources, and to get access to the batteries, it's actually quite easy. They just come out right there. So there we can see our two AAA batteries that just come out and sit on the outside of the cup. Some of these you have to get access to, for like you have to like dig in the inside. So this is actually quite nice, just being able to grab these from the outside. Now, just a little bit more about these aux jacks and how they work. If you end up plugging something in on one earphone, what it'll do is it'll turn off the microphones, so you'll just be hearing music, probably is what you're going to be putting in there, right? So if you're going to run some tunes on one side, it'll just run on that side. The other side's going to be listening and all that kind of thing, which I found simple and quite easy to manage. So there's no, like, you don't have to adjust volume of your music in and your microphone. You either get one or the other. So it keeps things nice and simple, and it makes it so that even if you were hunting, you could be listening to some tunes or a podcast or whatever while you're hunting on one ear, and then the other ear can be uninhibited, ready to listen for game that might be coming in. Now, just talking about these bands a little bit more, this is all plastic here, but it's good quality plastic. We've got a lot of range of motion here, and it moves quite easily. We've got these ratcheting straps on here, and there's some other headphones out there that use this exact same style, and all it is just a quick push in and they come out, or a pull out and they kind of ripple out there. So that's all that those do. And it works, you know, there's not really much to it. The other style that's really common among inexpensive ones is to use like wires. And the wires, if you push a little bit too hard, they can bend or they can go in a little bit sideways. And once you've bent one of those wire ones, they're never really quite the same. Whereas these plastic ones, you can easily push them in and you're not going to break anything. They'll always go in the same way. When in fully adjusted like this, they're a little bit small. They don't collapse quite as nicely as some of the other ones out there. You kind of have to do a sideways thing, and to do it, you kind of have to give yourself a little bit more room until you can get this nice sideways yoga pose that they've got for these things. So it is a little bit different, but they do collapse down quite nicely, and this will fit in a range bag very easily, so not really much of a problem there. Now this is a larger issue that I had with my Caldwell earmuffs. They didn't have a really cushy ear cup, and what that did was when I ran with iPro like I am right now, there was actually a little like spot that sound could get in around the arms of the glasses. And this is actually a huge problem, because without glasses they were great and they reduced noise according to what they said they would, but when you had glasses on, that was when the real problem was. Now with these, we've got a much nicer cup on them. It's a lot thicker, and because of that thickness and the pressure that it puts on, it actually closes around these glasses a lot better than those Caldwells that I had. Now one of the cool things about these slimmer ear cups is that they're kind of scalloped on the sides here. I don't know how well you can see that, but they're scalloped on the bottom, so they leave a lot of room. And I found, at least when I was shooting clays with them, they were just fine. They were not breaking their seal along the bottom at all. And I could get nice and tight down to the barrel on my shotgun without any difficulties.
I don't know if you can tell, I just went to the range and I got a little bit of sun, but while I was there, I was at a 3-gun match, and I was shooting with these guys on. And one thing that kind of struck me, so I've also got some Howard Lay impact swords. These are really popular. They're right around $50. They're stereo sound, so that you know, you can hear everything, but you can't tell whether it's back or front, kind of a thing. And one thing I noticed is that the ear cups. Now keep in mind, these things are like 2 years old, so it's not really a fair comparison. But the ear cups are quite stiff on here, and they didn't seal quite as good around the edge of the glasses as when they were new. These ones are quite a bit thicker, so I'd imagine that over the time, this is going to allow for just a little bit more flexibility, I guess, when these things start to age a bit more. Now, when I was shooting 3-gun, one of the things I noticed was that if it's hot and you're wearing earmuffs, you know it's going to be hot in your earmuffs. And 2, you know, these things did a really excellent job of attenuating everything while I was on the range and while I was ROing and signing people in and that kind of thing. Other people are shooting. When it got time for me to shoot, just because I've got a really big braked rifle, I did need to run, I ran just some of those little crappy earplugs, not like a good pair, like a 30 dB kind of a thing, just like some intermediate, I guess, earplugs, and then these on top. And what that allowed me to do was hear better than if I was to wear the silicone earplugs that I normally wear, just because these things, when amplified, are quite good. And with those earplugs on, it was fine. So I got enough sound attenuation just running some crappy earplugs and running these on top. And that's pretty much what you're going to have to do anyways when you're running indoor or when you're running larger rifles, just because headphone technology, when they're slim like this, just won't give you enough attenuation. Now, just since I've got these Howard Lays on the table, these are my other passive earmuffs. They work really well. They're super bulky. You can see they're the size of them, and they're non-electronic. So when I wear these suckers, it's only when I'm shooting pistol, because while they're really good, they really bump up against rifles when I'm trying to put them up against my head. These ones are quite a bit slimmer, and they're quite a bit tighter just underneath here, so I can still get my chin in there. The Howard Lays are quite good at that, but the thing that I found with them is that, again, the sound attenuation with them wasn't quite as good, just because they're only about 22. Nice and slim, but again, they wouldn't get that sound attenuation because they're only 22, and they just, I don't know. I prefer a little bit more when I'm shooting. So this is the primary competition to these guys. These are the M4s. These are more comparable to like a Walker Game Pro kind of a thing. But the M2 version of this, which is pretty much the same except it's only got 2 microphones, is like really cheap right now. It's 50 some bucks, I think, and I think they've got an Indiegogo now on it. So these are very inexpensive, a little bit better of an ear, oh, not a little bit, quite a bit better of an ear cup than the Howard Lay Impact Sports. And pretty much for the same price, because at 50 bucks ish for the M2s, you're getting quite a bit better of an ear cup and sound quality from them. So I don't know, like I think that's merit enough to check these out, and I think for the price, they're definitely a better ear cup, definitely some better quality components in here. So I would really check them out. Thanks for watching.